So today I'm going to teach you how you can actually create a simple neural network in PyTorch. So the data set that we want to deal with today is the fashion MNIST. First look at how the data set looks like. Just go here and type fashion MNIST dataset in Google. So this is the fashion MNIST, so it doesn't have anything. So let me go back to one good place where you can find the data set. Okay, so this is the fashion MNIST data set. What does it have? So it has 60,000 training examples and 10,000 test examples. Okay, each image is 28 by 28. Okay, and they're grayscale. This is important. That means we'll have only one channel for each image, and the label is 10 classes, and the images will look something like this. 60,000 images like this. Okay, some of them are like t-shirts, some of them are trousers, some of them are like sandals. Okay, so what we want to do today is build a very simple PyTorch neural network, train them on the fashion MNIST data set, and also test whether it's really working. Okay, the goal is to train the network with these images and actually test if the network is able to identify these images. Okay, so let's go back to my Jupyter notebook. Okay, so this is a program I'm going to teach you today. So let's look at how the data set is read. Okay, so you always have to import torch.nn as nn, torch.nn.functional as f, and torch fusion. These are very important for every simple PyTorch program or even complicated PyTorch program. Okay, so let's look at how we can actually get the data. So first you need to create the handlers for the data set. So I want to create a train set handler and test set handler. So train set handler, how do we get it? So PyTorch has all these famous data sets. Okay, like CIFAR, Fashion MNIST, or whatever, whichever famous data set is, it is there in PyTorch, torchvision.datasets. So you need to create a handler to it, torchvision.datasets.fashionMNIST. Specify the current directory or the directory that you want to store the samples, the images, whether you want to download or you want to operate from where it is. Train or test, this is train, so I would put this as true. And transform, what is this? So images will be in various different formats. These are like images will be like an array of numbers. Okay, so we want to normalize those numbers. First convert them to tensors, because PyTorch only deals with the tensor. So we need to transform the images. What are the parameters to transform? One is convert them to tensors, and next is normalize. For normalize, you need to specify mean and the variance. Okay, so we created two handlers to train set and test set. Then we need to create data loaders. What are data loaders? So these are just handlers, but I want to read the data in a particular fashion. For example, I want to read the data batch wise. So we need to specify torch.utils.data.data loaders, the train set that we generated here, the batch size, and whether the data needs to be shuffled or not. So we always have to shuffle the data, otherwise it's not good. And similarly create one for the test loader. Okay, so what are the classes and labels that this data set will have? We'll have only 10 classes. Okay, t-shirt, trouser, pullover, dress, coat, etc, etc. Okay, so now see, I want to do that here again to show how it works. So let me run this, then create a loader, train loader, and let's see if we can actually read the images from train loader. So for reading the images from train loader, I need to first enumerate it. So I'm enumerating it here. After enumerating, you can use it like a iterable item. Okay, so I can just say next A, and it should give me batch, the data which is the image, and the target which is the label of the image. So I just run it and see what should be the batch. I don't know, let me check. So batch size is 0. That is strange. Maybe it's not reading anything. Okay, what about the example data? Okay, so the example batch is 1. Example data is 4 by 1 cross 22 cross 22. So what is this? I know that this always the last two dimensions are for the image. So image is 28 by 28, 28 pixel by 28. And what is this? The channel. So the image will have a channel, right? So this is a black and white image, so it has only one channel. If it is a color image, it will have 3 channels. So this forms the image. And what is this 4? 4 is the batch size. So we specified, remember we specified a batch size of 4 here. That is the 4 here. Okay, so this is a batch of 4 images. And what are those images? That is stored in the example target. Okay, so example target should have 4 numbers, because we have 4 images, we need to have 4 labels. What are those 4 labels? 4, 5, 8, 7. Okay, so now also let's look at how these handlers look like. Train set. So train set is a handler to fashion MNIST data. It has 10,000 this is test set, sorry. It has a handler of 10,000 images. It is stored in the data. Okay, and it is a test split, and this is the transforms that was used. Okay, what is the train set? Train set is again data that is got from fashion MNIST. It has 60,000 images. It is stored in data, and it's a train split, it's not test split. Okay, I hope this much is clear to you. So it's also clear that to go through this data, we can actually keep doing next, and we can actually iterate to the entire data. So before we actually start dealing with the data, okay, so I want to first also print the data so that you know what's going on here. So let us print the data. Okay, I got example data shape. How much? I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Okay, run. See, I want to print the data. Okay, it changes every time. So I just printed a grid of, see, I actually printed the entire batch. So 4 images were there. This particular thing, torchvision.utils.makeGrid, it makes a grid of 4 images by concatenating the arrays. Okay, so I got 4 images here that is printed here, and the labels that we saw, these are the labels. Okay, that's good. So let me go to how we actually are going to design a neural network for this. So all is going to be done in PyTorch. Before going into our first neural network implementation, first I would like to describe the architecture of the typical convolutional neural network. Okay, so I got a very nice picture which describes the architecture, and it makes you very clear how it works. Okay, so here there's an example of an image. Okay, 32 by 32 into 3, that is fed into the neural network. Okay, so what is 32 by 32? That is the image size. Okay, and 3 is the number of channels, and it is fed into the convolutional layer of 6 filters or 6 channels. Okay, and size of each of those filters is 5, that is f equals to 5, stride is 1, padding is 0. Okay, so after passing through the convolutional neural network, the image size becomes 28 into 28 by 6. 6 is the number of channels or filters. After that, it gets fed to a max pool layer here. So max pool layer has f equals to 2, that is filter size equals to 2, stride equals to 2. So when we pass it through max pool layer, the size of the image becomes half. Here it becomes 14 by 14 into number of 6. Number of channels remains same. Okay, and then we are passing it through another convolutional layer of filter size 5, f equals to 5, s stride equals to 1, p is 0, and 16 filters. Okay, so what is going to be the output? Output is going to be 10 by 10 into 16, because there are 16 channels or filters. 10 by 10 into 16. This is passed through the max pool layer here, and we get 5 into 5 into 16. Okay, this one has to be fed to fully connected layer. Okay, the fully connected layer is a flat network, right? It doesn't have an image, it doesn't do any convolutions, it's a flat network. So this 5 into 5 by 16 has to be converted to the flat number of features, which is 5 into 5 into 16, 400. 400 is fed to this network, which produces 120 features, that is fed to another fully connected layer that produces 84 features, and that is fed to third fully connected layer that produces probably the 10 numbers depending on the labels that we have. If the number of labels are 10, it produces 10 numbers, and here the softmax function is used to determine the probability of finding a label. Okay, so now comes the question, like how this filter size is calculated, or how the output dimension is calculated. Let us say we pass 32 into 32 into 3 to the convolutional layer here, which has f equals to 5, s equals to 1. We need to use this formula to find the dimensions of the output image. So 32 is input image dimension here, 32 plus 2 into p, padding is 0, so that becomes 0, so 32, and k is the filter size here. So here the filter size is 5. So 32 minus 5 is how much? 27. 27 divided by s is stride. Stride is the number of jumps the filter makes before making the next calculation. Okay, so that is 1, so that is 27 plus 1 is 28. Okay, so I'll quickly show you how the filter actually goes through the image. Okay, so this is how it will look like. So this is the input image of size 6 by 6, and my filter is 3 by 3. Okay, all I need to do is place the filter at the first point and calculate the values. So let's say the filter is like this, right? 1 1 1 0 0 0 minus minus 1 minus 1. So first convolution I do is I place it here. Okay, this is called spatial convolution, right? It's not time convolution. So this is placed here, and this are multiplied. 3 into 1, 1 into 1, 2 into 1. How much is it? 3 plus 1 4, 4 plus 2 6, and here all zeros, 0 into 0 into 0, and this is minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, so it becomes minus 1 minus 7 minus 5 minus 5 minus this becomes minus 13 plus 6, that produces a minus 7. So that's how we have output minus 7 here. After this, the filter has to move to the next round of convolution, right? For that it uses stride. If stride is 1, then instead of 311 it goes to 112 073 351, and it produces the next number. Then it moves to 128 732 511, it produces the next number, so and so forth. Okay, I hope this is clear how this works. I don't need this function. I'll move this function to the end. So just copy paste this. I don't want it here. I want it to the end. Maybe I won't use it. I'll take this and copy to the end. Control X. Take me to the end. Somewhere where it doesn't interfere. I'll put it here. I think this is a place to keep that. Okay, file save. It automatically gets saved. So now let me look at how my neural network is going to look like, right? So this is the neural network that I have written. See, note that this network is very particular to the image dimension. So if my image dimension was 224 by 224, my network might be slightly different. It may not look like this. Okay, this is very specific to this image size, and if you get a different image size, you need to reshape it to this size for this neural network to work. Okay, so as I told you already, you need to import torch vision the transforms, and NumPy is always required. Okay, so this is the implementation of the PyTorch neural network. It will always have a init method and a forward method. You may add other methods, but these are the minimum requirement. Okay, so what does the init method have? Init method, you need to always call init. See, it's of the type parent type nn.module, which has many other things that we don't need to know. Okay, you need to initialize a parent init function by doing super the network name newnet self dot underscore init underscore init. Okay, so now I have put a parameter here. You may want to use it, or you don't want to use it. It's not required. So if you want to use the parameter, it should be actually self dot, put all the parameters in self. Okay, and this is the definition of my first convolutional layer. What is this going to have? This is going to have input channel and an output channel. Input channel, because this is a black and white image, dimensions of the image I already showed you. This is the image, right? Image is only this much, so it has only one channel and 28 by 28 pixel, right? So dimension of my image is 1 by 28 by 28, so this is going to take only the one channel input, and it is producing 6 channels output. You may say that I want to create a 3 channel output. Oh, it's up to you. You can create a 3 channel output, or you can even create a 10 channel output, but you need to experiment which is going to work for you. Okay, so here it is 1 channel input, 6 channel output. And what is the filter size? Filter size is 5. Input channel, output channel, filter size is 5. So the filter actually of size 5 is scanned. It actually convolves the entire 28 by 28 image, goes across 28 by 28 image, and it produces 24 by 24 image. Okay, how it produces, I'm going to describe it later. The calculation is something like this. Take the original image size minus filter size, which is 5, minus 1 divided by stride. Stride here is 1, so this is 28 minus 4 minus 1 is how much? 28 minus 5, 23, divided by 1, 20, plus 1, 24. Okay, so this is going to produce 6 channels of output, 24 by 24. This is fed to max pool layer. So what max pool layer does is, it takes every 2 by 2 and it pools them into one number. It takes the maximum of 2 by 2 numbers. Okay, so it's basically again pools every 2 by 2 portion of the image and puts only one number out. Okay, so the effect of this is, because the stride is 2, it's going to divide, or it's going to divide this image into 12 by 12 instead of 24 by 24. After max pooling is done, 2 by 2, it's going to become 12 by 2. So our number of channels remains same, because this doesn't modify the number of channels, it acts on every channel. Okay, so after this is the next layer, which is a convolutional layer 2. So what we want to do here is take the number of channels 6 and convert them to number of channels 10. Again, use the filter size 5, and you may differ and you may take a different number of channels as output. It's up to you. You can actually experiment with various different channel numbers and come to one number, but it's going to work because this is a very complicated, simple data set. Whatever you do like this, and if you train the network properly, it's going to work. So after this is going to produce 10 8 by 8, because 10 channels, and 12 by 12 is going to become 8 by 8 by this formula. 12 minus 5 is the filter size, minus 1 divided by number of strides 1 plus 1, which is 10 8 by 8. and again I'm going to pass it through one more pooling layer, which is going to make it 4x4. Okay, so what it means is after the second convolutional layer I'm going to have basically 10 channels of size 4x4. So how much is it? 4 into 4 is 16, 16 into 10 is 160. So I will have 160 numbers when the image comes here. So those 160 numbers, so what has happened is 28 by 28 has become 160. Now we have to pass it through a linear layer. So this is a linear layer, which is 4 into 4 into 10, 160, and it produces 64 output features. You can change it to 32, and you can have one more, or you can have 32, and then here you should convert it 32 to 10. So this is the final layer. Okay, so this is only the init function. You see, when the forward function runs, what happens is it takes the image. X is the image. It passes X through convolutional layer, which I already described. It should be 28. 28 minus, so it's going to become, after passing through, it's going to become 6 by 28, 24 by 24, because our convolutional layer takes one channel input and produces 6 channel output, 6 by 24 by 24. Then we pass it through ReLU. We always have to pass through ReLU or sigmoid. Okay, here I am passing through ReLU layer. Then again max pool it. Okay, so it makes it half, right? 6 by 24 by 24 becomes 6 by 12 by 12. Then pass through second convolutional layer. It is going to become 10 by 8 by 8, because the output of this produces 6 channels. This produces 10 channels, and because the filter size is 5, 12 by 12 is going to become 8 by 8. Again we pass it through ReLU. Always after the convolutional layer, the ReLU layer will come. Okay, this adds a non-linearity. Okay, so then the max pool, it was going to become 10 bar 4 by 4. So at this point, okay, so the X will look quite different than what we had passed. The X will here look like 4 cross, the number of batches, cross 1 cross 28 by 28. When it comes here, the X will look something like 4 cross 4 cross 10 cross 4 cross 4. So I want to convert this 10 cross 4 cross 4 to, except the batch size, rest all I want to convert it to 160 numbers, right? So that's, I need to flatten it here except the batch size. So this function does that, which is converting once. So I got this here. Size shape of this will be 160. Then I pass it through first convolutional layer. This is going to produce 160 to 64. It is this one, 160 to 64 features. After 64 features, it's going to again do a ReLU on this, and from 64 we get it to 10 features. And once, why 10 features? Because we have 10 labels. Okay, after the 10 labels, I want to run a log softmax, or you can even have a softmax. Okay, so basically what it means is we want to maximize one of these 10 labels. So once it produces 10 numbers, right, only one number is going to be correct, rest all numbers are going to be wrong, right? So we need to compare this against 10 different numbers, and only one will be correct. So we have to maximize against that one correct label. Okay, so this is my forward function. Okay, so let me see how I'm going to train this. I hope it's clear up to this point. Okay, so for training we always need an optimizer. So we need to import torch.optim as optim. So optim has all different types of optimizers. Learning rate, we are taking it as 0.005, and I'm instantiating my neural network as mynet2. So it's going to call the init function. So that means all this is going to be initialized. What? All this part is going to be initialized. Okay. In fact, after calling that, I'll show you. After calling that, so I can show you here. I want to do that here. I want to call that here and check what's up with it. Can I see whatever we defined, is it there in this? Just type this and you can see whatever you defined, it is there in that. So what does it have? It has convolutional one that we defined, which has first convolutional layer, right, and stride 1. Kernel size is 5 by 5. Max pooling layer, kernel size is 2 and stride 2, padding 0. See, I didn't talk about this. You can think about it later. And second convolutional layer here, first linear layer, second linear layer. Okay, is it clear? So you can also find what are the parameters that neural network has, right? Because each of these networks here will have parameters, and you can see those parameters like this. If I put p equals param equals to this, right? And if I'll say for I in param print I, is it going to work? Yeah, it's printing all the params. So these are all the parameters that are there. These are right now, these are random numbers, right? So these random numbers are going to be updated every time this network gets trained. In fact, you see all these numbers, this is nothing but array of numbers. First set of numbers maybe for the first convolutional layer, second set of numbers maybe for, I don't know, it may be ReLU. Third set of numbers or for, no, this may be pooling layer, third layer. So these are different layers here. Okay, so now we need to initialize an optimizer. So there are many different types of optimizers. We are going to have Adam optimizer, or you can have stochastic gradient optimizer. There are different. The other optimizer is optim.sgd, which is stochastic gradient descent. So you need to pass the parameters to this, and you have to pass the optimizer. So what you're telling is, I need these parameters to be updated every time the neural network learns. Okay. So now the epochs. So how many times I want to run the training? So it can be 2 or 3, or it can be up to 10. Okay. So now I'm getting one training example every time and run the neural network on that. Okay. For for batch index training data, train targets in enumerate train loader. So batch index start from 0. That's what I assume. For I in range train data dot shape 0. Okay. Optimizer dot 0 grad. So first we need to, and I know what I'm doing here. Actually it should be done in batch, but for my sake, what I did is I changed for this algorithm to work on individual images instead of batches. So I am actually running through this and going through once per image. So for I in range train data dot shape 0, this is a batch image index 0 1 2. So we'll take the first image here. Optimizer dot 0 grad, set all the gradients to 0, because we don't want to carry the old gradients and update them here. train data new equals to train data I. This is the ith image. Okay, I'm going to add one batch dimension to it. Okay, train target new equals to train target. So this is the train target is nothing but we already know what is the target. Okay, so this is the image and this is the target. Okay, train target new unsqueeze -1. Okay, so I'm running this through my neural network. So what it produces array of 8 numbers. Ideally it produces array of the number of batches, but here I'm going through one by one in the image, so it will produce only array of 10 numbers. So what is my loss criteria? Log likelihood loss. Okay, so this output, so criteria is I need to pass the output that I got here, which is an array of 8 numbers, and I need to pass what I was expecting, what is the actual target value, which is train target new one. So when this is passed, this is the loss. Okay, it produces the loss, and what I want to minimize is loss, right? So I need to do loss dot backward. So this is where I am doing the back propagation. So to minimize this loss, I am doing the back propagation. So what it means is from the loss, the gradient values to minimize are all gradients are all passed all the way up to the inputs. Okay, and when we do optimizer dot step, the gradient values are updated so as to minimize this loss. Okay, so loss dot backward optimizer step. Okay, and every time the batch index reaches 2000, I'm printing it. Okay, so let me run it. It started running and it's printing the loss value every iteration. In fact, it's printing batch index, epochs, loss, and the output. Whatever is the last output that we have got. The last output will be array of 10 numbers, right? The whole goal of this neural network is to bring these numbers closer to the actual target value. So let's say my label 0, 1, 2, 3, fourth label was the correct label, then that value should be minimum. That should be maximum. So it will take a while this is running. After running for some time, our program has completed the training. Let us see the output. So you can see that it is printing the loss after every 2000 iterations. So 2.2558, 2.113, and you can actually see that loss is decreasing, right? 0059, 0.0313, and this is like the first set of training data, and the loss has come to 0.2436 and slightly it has increased. Again the second epoch it has started decreasing, and after the second, and it has gone very low here, and then we see that finally it completed the training with a decent loss. Okay, the minimum loss. Okay, so now our network is ready to be tested. Okay, so I just want to take some training examples and see if the network is really predicting correctly. So I just again go back to train loader, get next batch. Okay, by using this, so you need to do next enumerate train loader, and I get batch index data, which is a batch, and example targets. Okay, now I will also get the output. This is the output of the train network, so I just need to pass the data. Okay, and I got an output. Let's see how the data and the outlook look. output look. Okay, so example data dot shape. So the data is as usual expected. It is 4 cross 1 cross 28 by 28. And the output is of the shape 4 cross 10. So what it means is for every image it has produced 10 outputs, because our batch had 4 images. For every image it has produced 10 outputs. Okay, let us print the output, and these are a lot of numbers, 10 numbers for every row. 10 10 10 here and 10 here. So how do you find what is the prediction? The prediction is max of these numbers in a row. So we need to take the index of the max. So how do we find the index of the max? So it should be output dot data dot max 1 and keep dimension equals to true. Okay, so we are going to do max over dimension 1. Okay, so it will return me this. So what it is doing is it is returning me max of every row. So for row 0 the max is this number, and what is the index of this number? 0. So our predicted label is 0. For row 1 this is the max value and the predicted index is 5, and which is same as the label. Similarly for this 1 is the prediction. Similarly for the last image 9 is the prediction. And let us see what was the ground truth, what were the actual realities for these images. Okay, so this is what we passed to the network and we got those numbers, and we already have the expected values of this. Let's see how it compares. So the expected value of the images is labels is 0519, and what we calculated, what the neural network calculated is 0519. So it is matching. Okay, so now we want to use the same logic and find how many were actually predicted correctly in the training data set. Okay, so we iterate through the training data set and we get a batch and we run the network for every batch, and we get this, which is the max values and the indices, and we take index 1 because that has the correct predicted labels. Okay, now this needs to be compared with the ground truth, which is there in the example targets. So we need to increment correctly predicted as correct plus equals to predict. This compares basically the ground truth and the predicted value, which is here, and increments the correct number of predicted values. Okay, let's run this, and you see that our total was actually 5000, and how many were correct? 4360. However, this is on the training data, right? I can do the same on the test data as well. Okay, let me do it on the test data. Same thing, but here I'm going to take test loader. Okay, done. How much is the total? Total should be 5000, right? How much are the correct values? Correctly predicted values are 4366. That's pretty decent accuracy. If you want to calculate how many percentage of them were correct, I can do total or correct divided by total. How much is it? Or I should say float of correct divided by float of total. So 87% accuracy is pretty good. Accuracy of 87% is pretty good. So I hope you understood how the convolutional neural network is implemented in PyTorch. I am going to show you more and more interesting problems. Please stay tuned, and if you have any questions and clarifications, please send an email and I'll be more than happy to answer your queries. Thank you very much.